this one more time tonight before it's just time to say goodnight. Hi, this is Tammy Lee again, Return to Joy coach and creator of the Laugh It Off app. One of the things that, if you remember the other night when I was doing the video where I was really raw with you, a lot of emotion was coming up. And one of the very last things I said when the video ended was, whatever you do, reach out. Reach out when, especially when you don't feel like you should or could, or you have this thought saying, I can't bother them. I don't want to reach out. What if it's a bad time for them? Like I tell my friends and my family and my clients, that's really when you need to reach out. Is when you have that voice inside saying, oh, I don't want to bother them. Oh, I'll get through it. And I told you I'd share something with you. This was actually a breakthrough in my life where I just said, enough. And I'm going to wind back here to when I was 14. When I was 14, my parents were already divorced. I was suicidal. I didn't know why I was even alive. Questioned that at the young age of 14. I already had experienced different types of abuse. And the love of my life, his name was Stan. That was the summer that we spent together. That was the summer when I felt like I was alive for the first time at the age of 14. Stan was the very first guy in my life, very first one, who ever made me feel like I was important. He never tried to cop a feel. He was the first guy in my life at the young age of 14 that never tried to cop a feel. That was huge. He was older. He was gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I thought, I'm 14. What's he want with me? I had such low self-esteem. And then one night I was out late, past my curfew, really pissed off my dad. Extremely. He told Stan in a very violent way, if I ever catch you with my daughter again, I'll throw the book at you. That was the moment that he was ripped out of my life. Even though we had committed to each other, promised each other, that at that point in my life I was still a virgin. I was going to wait for him. He was going to wait for me until I graduated high school. It was that... Do you remember the first love? Your first love? How intense. Just remarkable feelings. The very first time. And to know that he was the first guy that ever treated me with such respect and dignity. And even told me, Tammy, you should be proud of what God gave you. Stand and sit with your shoulders back. I felt like a queen, like a princess in his presence. But he never ever knew. He never knew he saved my life. He never knew. So fast forward about 17 years. I'm about 32 maybe. So this is over 20 years ago when I saw him again. Weirdest places too. Garage sales. him driving his motorcycle down the road that very few people I happened to be driving down. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I kept getting this voice and this feeling that I was supposed to reach out to him and tell him that he had saved my life. But I didn't do it. But that voice was still nagging in me. I can't even explain how it was just like there, like a gnawing effect. And then one day, well, let me tell you this. It was the reason that I didn't reach out. Because I had these thoughts of, well, what's my husband going to say if I call this guy? What's his wife going to say when I ask, if she picks up the phone first? And see, here I allowed other people's opinions and thoughts to keep me from doing what I knew I was to do. But I allowed the thought of other people's judgments on me keep me from what I knew that I knew I was supposed to do. And then one day I saw him again. And I said, okay, Tammy, enough's enough. You got to call him. No matter what. So I promised myself. Wow, this just came up. I promised God that I would call Stan. Stan had to know that he had saved my life. I don't know why this was coming to me at that moment. But within a few hours of making that decision, I found out why. Because I received a phone call. Tammy? Yeah? Got something to tell you. Okay. Stan is dead. I was devastated. I was shook to my core. I felt like I disappointed God. I felt like if I would have followed that voice quicker, I would have saved his life. He saved me from suicide at the age of 14. And here, I could have saved him from it too. Because he did take his own life. I lived with that guilt for years, well over a decade. I just, and thinking that I've disappointed God that's the worst thing in my life. I know now there's no way I could ever disappoint God. But I grew up with that thought. So see, when I've experienced some heart-wrenching, life-altering things in my life. And I really think that's part of the reason why I do my coaching. Is because I want to inspire people to be their best. I want them to help. I desire to help them to work through these different things that either we bring upon ourselves or without choice, without knowledge, we've allowed others to lay them upon us. Or maybe we were too young to know better. So if you ever feel despair, if you ever question why you're here, if there's anything that takes you out of your joy and you need help to bring it back, reach out. I've been there. And I know what that feels like. I even know what it feels like when you don't know why. It's one thing to think the suicidal thoughts. You still got some control. It's another thing when you're going down this deep, dark hole of abyss that you have no freaking clue why. I've been there too, to the point of losing my voice. That happened when I was 38. And that's why I do the work I do. Because I know I can only help others as much as I help myself. Listen to the whispers. Do what I did not do that day. Listen and follow them. I actually can share this story with you without starting to cry. That is how I know the healing for me is happening. That the guilt has been cleared. The processes that I have used with myself is also the processes that I use and share with my clients and my family. That experience will always be with me. And yeah, sometimes there's still this little layer that'll come up. And sometimes I even think, well, did I remember this right? I'm 53. That was, what's math? 53 minus 14, 40, 30. Would it be 39 years ago? Is that right? 38 years ago? But I'm very intuitive. One day I was writing, and I even heard, when I was questioning, like, did I remember this right? Did I remember this experience right? That we were really going to wait for each other. And I heard Stan. He came to me. And he said, yes, Tammy. You remember it right. Yes. Heard his voice so clear. That's one of the processes I use, is writing. Why don't you try that if that helps? Even if you think it's not going to, just do it. See where it takes you. If you want to share with me, send me a private message. Share with me some of the processes you use. Share with me, if you want to, what comes out of your writing. Share with me how I can support you.